Hey everyone, and welcome to Chasing Growth, another episode. And today I want to ask you a question. Who do you think is the most difficult person to lead? And probably you know the answer, probably you heard it before. If you haven't, this will be maybe a little bit shocking, and that person is you. It's me. Actually, the most difficult person to lead is yourself. It's really, really hard. And let me tell you why it's so hard. It's really hard because it's painful, and growth is painful. And why it's so painful? Because you have to start this journey inside of yourself, inside of your thoughts, the way that you do things, the way that you react, and you start discovering a lot of dark things about yourself. Sometimes you start discovering things that really messed up with you. And if you're a Christian, we know that already. We all are messed up, we all have problems, we all have fall short. And so we hear it a lot, but we don't really do anything. We hear it, we know it, but we don't really act on it because it's like everybody know it. But we're not willing to start changing those things that internally need to change, and they're difficult. Recognizing difficult things, recognizing uh, problems that we have. One of the things I remember that was hard to recognize is that I was a quitter. A lot of times I used to quit. I will start something and I will quit. I will start something and I will give up. And it was very difficult. And I'm glad they happened early in my journey that I was able to identify that and say, no, every time I start dealing with those thoughts of quitting, which came so natural, I will fight them. And I'm gonna keep fighting. You don't know, and if you talk with people who's close to me, they will hear how many times I'm ready to give up and start doing something else. How many times I'm ready to quit and start in another direction. But the fact that I recognize it when I hear myself saying it, I'm able to start remind myself of what is right, what is correct, how you shouldn't give up, how you should keep pushing forward, and that way you don't give up. And I have seen through the years that changes, that only change in my life have been great. So it took to recognize something very difficult for me to be able to change it, and only to know that it's wrong. Because everybody, if I tell you, hey, quitting is wrong, everybody will say, yeah, quitting is wrong. But when we do it, when we look for greener pastures, we know when we look for that opportunity because we're tired of the boss, because we're tired of the environment, or we're tired of they don't understand and all that stuff, and we look for other things, other opportunities, which the reality is many times we quitting. We fool ourselves, and we don't want to get into that point where we can recognize that, oh, either I'm a quitter, or I'm fearful, or all these things. They're real, and we just don't want to recognize it. So I want to help you today to start that journey. And one other thing that you can do, if you have access to audiobooks or something like or books itself, you definitely have to read the Leadership Challenge. They talk about the journey, this internal journey that you need to take as a leader to start actually shaping yourself first. You cannot expect to be a good leader. You may have the position of a leader, but you're never gonna be a good leader if you don't start this journey that is painful and difficult to start recognizing things that they're hard to recognize. It's hard to say that you have bad in you, but it's true. We know it, but it's hard to do something about it, and it's painful. But I want to help you with that, and I want to tell you 4 areas that you can start looking into to recognize the thing that you can change. And this journey never ends. It's not that you do this and then you're good and you move forward. There's always more inside of you that you got to keep sweeping, keep cleaning, keep getting better, keep breaking those walls that you may have internally that don't allow you to move forward. And they may become even more painful, but you're gonna be more used to it, to the process. So this is why it's so important to start. And if you want to become a great leader, you have to start that internal journey and recognize that you need to learn to lead yourself. And remember, this is very difficult. The most difficult people to lead is the person you see every morning in the mirror when you brush your teeth, when you shave. That's the worst person to lead. It's difficult to convince them, to convince that person of wrongdoing. It's very difficult to convince that person that they're guilty, and it's very difficult to convince that person that they have to change, even when nobody else knows they have to change. So, where you can start looking. Um, what are you the first thing that you have to do? I believe there's 4 areas that you can start looking into it to start changing, to start shaping yourself and becoming a better leader because you learn to lead yourself. The first one is, what are you consuming? That's the first question. What are you consuming? What are you watching? What are you eating? What are you listening? All that is molding you and molding your leadership. If you're listening the same things over and over and over, eventually you start believing it. Some of you may be watching the news and you believe in. I have seen on social media this day the world is end. People saying the world is ending just because United States have some issues. But not every place in the world is having issues. But some people start believing that rhetoric of the world is ending, is gonna be over, blah blah blah, all that stuff because they hear it 24/7. So let me ask you this: what are you watching? What are you listening all the time? Believe it or not, that is speaking to you, and you start believing those things. I saw a commercial when the person come with a cake. He bring the cake to the office and he said, "I quit." And everybody celebrate because that person is quitting. And if you keep watching that and you watch other commercials where you want to be able to tell your boss something and walk away and be free, and stick it to the man or something like that, you start believing that that's good. The quitting sometimes is good. I had to tell you, quitting a lot of time is not good. And for example, I can see it because that's what something that I struggle with. But if you're not paying attention, you start believing that's true, and that affects all kind of, and all your life, all your it will affect your leadership. If you watching news, you're gonna be fearful about your company. You will be fearful about the economy. You will be making decisions, sometimes very irrational decisions, because what you consuming. So please be careful. Start watching what you consume, what you're watching, what you're eating, all the things that are coming to you. And when you can identify those, and you will find like some type of something that repeat, like, oh, why I'm so attracted to this kind of thing, why I'm attracted to this kind of thing, and you're gonna realize that it's because you, and that's probably the area that you have to start changing and start working on it. For example, you may know the discipline is important, and you, if I say the word discipline, you're going like, yeah, discipline is important. But is there any discipline in your life? Maybe not. And you, all what you do is watch Cartoon Network and playing video games in your mom basement. You will never get out of there because all what you're watching is taking you there, is putting you there. You think that that's the way your life should be, but it's not. So you have to really take a look of what you're consuming and what you're watching, what you're eating, all that, whatever is coming to you, and see how that is feeding you, how that is helping you. So remember, what are you consuming? Then, what are the things that you say? Today in the United States, there's a huge debate about different social problems, and I think have a lot to do with the way people talk, what people said. If you're a Christian, you know the Bible tells us that it's not necessarily what we come into us, but also it's what we say, what come out of our mouth that is worse, that contaminate our heart and make all the things worse. If you want to put it another way, whatever you say, you hearing it and have a great effect in your life. So, for example, what are the things that you're saying? Are you negative? Are somebody who's always fearful? Are somebody who always repeating, like, well, it's always get worse. When it rains, it pours. All that kind of stuff. What are you saying? If you're a leader and you're constantly telling yourself these things, and you're saying, well, it's not that important. It's very important what you're saying. Are you speaking with future, with vision, with encouragement, with empowerment, or you're completely negative? Everything going down, the world gonna end, I'm gonna lose this, I'm gonna lose that. Pay attention to what you're saying, and you're gonna realize the areas where you have to lead yourself better and start changing. Sometimes you're gonna need to learn to bite your tongue and don't say some things, because again, what you're consuming is telling you some stories, and then what you're saying is telling you or reinforcing those stories. And even if it's not true, you will believe it's true. They say, some people start saying, I'm gonna lose my job, I'm gonna lose my job, I'm gonna lose my job, and eventually they lose their job. But it was their own fault. They conditioned themselves to lose their job. They start telling themselves a story, and they started believing it, and they start acting and doing things that will take them to lose their job. So what are you saying? What are the things that you're saying, and where those things are taking you? When you pay attention to those, it will show you what are the things that you need to change. You may be very negative. You may be a person who's constantly a little bit angry. You may be constantly blaming the government or blaming somebody else, your parents. You may be somebody who constantly saying that it's their fault, it's their problem, never taking ownership. Listen to yourself and start leading yourself in that area. What are you saying all the time that is bad? And that will help you tremendously to become a better leader. Uh, Now, the number three is, what is your environment? See, there's a saying that pretty much I can tell you who you are, and for the people you hang out with, you become the with the people you hang out with, and that's true. That's important. The environment. What is your environment? What the environment is move you to do? Some people never get out of a situation because of the environment. Some people never get out of poverty because it's all what they know. But when they get to experience something else, they have this revolution in this paradox they have in their own minds, and they realize there's other worlds. So many of you as leaders, you may think that you're always gonna be just that manager, that little manager, whatever, or you're never gonna do that, you never, and then not only you're consuming bad things, you're telling you the bad story, but you also in the bad environment that doesn't push you to keep moving forward to grow. So what happened is that if you're in an environment that a lot of people negative, people who don't want to be successful, people who all what they do is blame the government, blame everybody else, and never take responsibility, you're gonna become that people. If you listen, if you spend a lot of time with somebody, eventually you start becoming that person. You start dressing like them, you start acting like them, and you see, especially with teenagers, how they imitate one another, and that's terrible. You shouldn't be doing that. Check your environment. What is your environment inviting you to do? Is inviting you to move forward, to grow, to advance? Is challenging you to learn, to become better, or your environment is challenging you just to, hey, keep watching TV. It's okay. You're there already. Don't do anything else. Is your environment telling you don't try too hard because you never gain anything, just be like your parents, very negative, just be like your family, very negative, or you getting out of there, you won't imagine. It's really hard to even think about how many people started great things and their environment was completely against them, and the people around them, the way the things look, the rooms and everything around them was terrible. And what to be able to grow as a leader, they have to identify, hey, this environment is bad for me, this environment is not moving me anywhere, so if I'm gonna lead myself, I have to get out of here. And when they have done it, they have changed their life, and you have that opportunity. So what is your environment? It's very important. So what are you consuming? What are you watching? What are what the radio, the programs, and all that stuff? What are you saying? What is coming out of your mouth? Is negative? Is good? I start changing it. What is your environment? The people around you. If you just around losers, you're gonna become a loser. So you don't want to be with losers. You want to be with people who challenge you, pushing you forward. People who talk positive. People who try things. People who try and they're willing to fall forward. That's the people you want around you. And then what people say about you. And this is hard because if you do this, if you talk, and some of you may have the opportunity to have great friends that will tell you the truth, even when it's hard, when it's painful. But some of you don't know that people. And this happened to a lot of leaders. They surround themselves with just people. They surround themselves around people who all what they see is only, or at least what they say, is only good things about them. They're never wrong. They don't even want to say something bad. One, they may be afraid. Two, maybe this leader never give the opportunity. But when you want to really change and grow and lead yourself, you need to surround yourself with people who will tell you the truth. People who will tell you, hey, this is hard, but I need to tell you what you say. I cannot tell you how many times have been so good that somebody come to me and say, hey, what you said was great, but this was bad. And this have gave me the opportunity to apologize, gave me the opportunity to change, gave me the opportunity to recognize that sometimes I don't need to talk. They have to become a better listener. They have to understand other people's problems too, etc., etc. But so many things that have been able to change in my life because that, and it's more. I know there's more, but if you don't have people speaking truth to your life, what they saying about you, you live in this fantasy island. You think that everything is great, everything is good, and when somebody says something wrong to you, because what you have been consuming have been telling you one thing, because what you were saying is telling you other thing, your environment is telling you other thing, and somebody said, hey, you're actually lazy and you don't want to do anything to change your life, and all what you do is complaining, you don't believe it. You don't believe it because I don't know way. But let me tell you, when people tell you the truth, they we love, and when I say we love, I don't mean all carefully, just the truth. Saying the truth itself is love, because you care more about the person than the relationship. So if you don't have people like that around you, make sure to have it, because what they can say, it will help you to become a better leader, so you can start leading yourself in that area. One other thing that years ago somebody told me, says you don't listen, and there is, I always thought, no, but I'm listening, I can repeat what you're saying. And all what it was, it was just to make eye contact and look to the person, and sometimes even repeat what they say. And when I started doing that, I got better. I still have a way to go. And also I realized it was very disrespectful when somebody was saying something, be thinking of the solution, be thinking how to fix it. But when people started telling me this, I realized, no, I have to be able to put that aside and actually listen. And sometimes I still fall for it, but the fact that I can recognize it, the fact that I can work on it, is a big deal. So the thing, you to become a great leader, you have to know that you are the most difficult person to lead. You are, I am, everybody is. So what do? You have to check what you're consuming. What are you watching? What are you listening? What are the things that are influencing you through your eyes, through your ears? And then what are you saying? What are the things that are coming out of your mind? Is negative? Is fearful? Is just there's no vision in what you say? Is dry? Is lacking love, etc. Uh, what is your environment? Is your environment challenging you to move forward? Is your environment moving you forward? Is the people around you moving forward, or is the people around you okay with you to be a couch potato? If they're okay with that, man, you just need to get out of that environment. Your life is too important. Your life is too valuable for you to waste it. Not reaching your dreams, no going forward. The worst thing that you're gonna do with people like that around you is that eventually you're gonna become older and you're gonna regret it having those friends. So it's okay to quit to that. It's okay to quit some relationships. It's okay to say no to some environment. It's okay. You won't die. It will be okay. And finally, what people say about you. Find people around you that can speak true to you, tell you the truth as it is, in love. And like I said, saying the truth is love. So give them permission to speak to you with truth. If you're not a leader that are listening people, there's no people telling you the truth, you're probably doing a lot of mistakes. I love when somebody come to me and say, I don't agree with that. I don't like that. And they tell me, that help me to think. If you're not that leader, my goodness, you have to start listening what people are saying about you, what's saying about your character, the way you make decisions and all that stuff, that feedback. So when you start hearing that and actually you start learning from that, is when you start leading yourself. So to lead yourself, do those things and you're going to become better. The most difficult person to lead is yourself. Start today. You don't have all the time in the world. Somebody have to be influenced and influenced well by you, and you don't have all the time in the world to wait to start changing. Get out of that sofa, get out of that watching TV, watching all these shows, watching all this junk, and start doing something with your life and start moving forward. Don't be a loser. Start moving forward, grow, become somebody, influence somebody, make something of your life. But thank you for watching today. I hope this helped you. And if you have questions, always you can email me, reach out, and I will be happy to answer you and helping you. Let's keep growing together. Let's keep moving forward. God bless you.